You stand in the supermarket aisle, scanning the rows of gold-rimmed jars. The labels scream premium, 100% pure, and rich aroma. You toss one into the trolley, believing you are buying a simple morning pick-me-up. But you have been betrayed. That innocent-looking powder is not just coffee, it is a chemically engineered deception. While the nation sleeps, industrial solvents used to strip paint are pumped into beans to decaffeinate them. While you sip, hidden mold toxins, impervious to boiling water, are metabolizing in your gut. It is a silent health crisis brewing in your own kitchen. Why are additives banned in rigorous safety zones still legal on British shelves? Why does the law allow crushed insects to be ground into a luxury roast? The lab reports the industry tried to bury have finally been exposed. This list uncovers the worst offenders, counting down to the #1 brand, a household icon sitting in your cupboard right now that is arguably more toxic than the plastic it is sold in. Put the kettle down, you need to see this. Number 7. Douwe Egberts Pure Decaf. The label says pure. The industrial patent calls it paint stripper. This jar sits in the cupboards of the most vulnerable consumers, pregnant women, the elderly and the heart-conscious, who believe they are making a virtuous choice by cutting caffeine. In reality, they are drinking a product born from a violent chemical bath. While the branding implies a natural lack of stimulants, the production line reveals a reliance on methylene chloride. This is not a culinary ingredient. It is a volatile industrial solvent, primarily used in varnish removers, aerosol paint strippers, and metal degreasers. While premium brands have pivoted to the expensive Swiss water method, the standard European method used for mass market jars like this relies on soaking the porous green beans directly in this harsh chemical to dissolve the caffeine. You are not brewing a bean that was naturally low in caffeine. You are brewing a bean that has been chemically scrubbed by a solvent. The chemical translation here is terrifying. You are ingesting a product processed with a compound classified as Group 2A probable carcinogen. This solvent is so toxic to the central nervous system that the EU banned its use in consumer paint strippers to prevent accidental inhalation deaths. Yet the food industry deems it acceptable for your evening brew. They argue that the roasting process burns off the residue to safe limits. But you are not paying for safe limits of a carcinogen. You are paying for purity. The risk is not just what is left behind, it is the chemical ghost of the process. Traces of this solvent have been detected in decaf stocks across the globe. When you drink this, you are engaging in a biological gamble. This is the ultimate health paradox. You switch to decaf to reduce anxiety and protect your sleep, yet you ingest a product processed with a chemical linked to liver damage and cognitive disruption. The industry relies on your ignorance of the processing method. If the jar does not explicitly say Swiss water process or chemical-free, assume it has been bathed in solvent. You are not buying pure coffee, you are buying the residue of industrial chemistry. Put the jar down. If a batch is too toxic for a Parisian supermarket, why is it the finest choice in your local Tesco? The branding implies luxury. The supply chain reveals a scandal. This product represents the double standard of the post-Brexit food industry. The beans are grown in Colombian volcanic soils, which are naturally rich in heavy metals. In the European Union, regulations strictly filter and reject batches with dangerous heavy metal levels to protect public health. But in the UK, import rules have relaxed. The safety net is gone, and you are the one falling through it. The toxic agent here is cadmium. This is not a preservative or a byproduct of roasting. It is a heavy metal excavated from the earth and absorbed into the bean. Tesco effectively operates a two-tier system. They ship the clean, compliant batches to their European markets to satisfy strict EU laws. Meanwhile, they dump the dirty, heavy metal-laden batches, the rejects, onto British shelves because the new laws allow it. You are not buying a premium product. You are paying full price for the hazardous waste the rest of the continent refused to import. The danger of cadmium is that it is a cumulative toxicant. It does not metabolize. It does not leave. Once you ingest it, it stays in your body for decades. It acts as a biological imposter, mimicking calcium. Your body gets confused and deposits this toxin deep into your bones and thyroid gland, disrupting hormone synthesis. It accumulates in the kidneys, slowly killing cells until organ function begins to decline. Lab tests detected cadmium in 100% of the samples from this range. Every single jar contained the toxin. If you drink just 3 cups of this daily, you are pushing your intake levels beyond the safety thresholds designed to prevent long-term organ damage. The label says finest, but the chemistry says poison. You are serving your family a heavy metal cocktail that was banned across the channel. Stop being the industry's biological filter for rejected goods. 4 full months. That is how long hazardous, contaminated units sat on British shelves, masquerading as the ethical choice while posing a violent physical threat. Sold at Waitrose, Sainsbury's and Boots, Clipper markets itself as the vanguard of British conscience. Natural, fair and delicious, the label claims. But beneath the eco-friendly branding lies a scandal of industrial negligence verified by the Food Standards Agency in 2024. The factory nightmare. Here is literal. The danger is not a pesticide or a chemical residue, it is the machinery itself. In late 2023, the freeze-drying equipment on the production line suffered a catastrophic failure. Instead of shutting down, the line continued to run, shedding jagged, hard plastic shards directly into the jars. This is not microscopic dust. These are physical fragments of broken industrial equipment capable of causing severe injury. The true horror lies in the camouflage. The plastic shards are chemically clear but appear dark and jagged, rendering them visually identical to the freeze-dried coffee crystals. You cannot inspect for this. You cannot pick it out. The human eye cannot distinguish the organic bean from the synthetic debris. The only moment of discovery arrives when you feel the crunch of industrial waste between your teeth, or worse, when a shard lodges in your esophagus. The health risk is immediate and visceral. Unlike chemical toxins, which act slowly, this is a mechanical hazard. Swallowing these shards poses a risk of internal laceration, choking and intestinal perforation. You are essentially paying a premium to swallow shrapnel. The betrayal of the purity paradox is absolute. You pay a 50% to 100% markup for this brand, believing the Soil Association logo guarantees safety. You trust the fair trade stamp, yet that premium price failed to fund the most basic machine safety checks. While the marketing team sold you moral superiority, the factory floor was feeding you the sweepings of a broken production line. Thousands of jars were recalled, but for a third of a year, families were brewing this debris. The label promises purity, but the jar delivers a medical emergency. If you possess stock from this period, do not risk it. It belongs in the bin, not your body. Banned in strictly regulated EU zones for its link to nerve erosion. Yet this brand remains the everyday essential on British shelves. The chemical class inside this jar was originally developed from nerve gas research. That is the heritage of your budget morning brew. While it positions itself as the everyday choice for families shopping at Asda and Tesco, the product is the definition of field-to-jar contamination. The beans are not grown in safe agricultural areas. They are manufactured in heavy spray industrial zones. These crops are drenched in pesticides to maximize yield, and unlike premium lines, the processing involves no adequate filtration. The beans are ground into powder with the chemical residue still clinging to them. You are not just buying coffee, you are buying the runoff from a non-organic industrial farm. The threat here is strictly neurological. The specific agents found in these jars act as potent cholinesterase inhibitors. To understand the danger, you must understand your own biology. Your nerves rely on a specific enzyme to stop firing signals once a message is sent. The chemicals in this coffee inhibit that enzyme. In plain English, they lock your nerve switches in the ON position, causing overstimulation and frying the system. This is why the chemical class is chemically related to warfare agents. It is designed to disrupt biological communication. Residue levels in this brand have clocked up to 0.08 milligrams per kilogram. While the industry calls this trace, the body calls it accumulation. This is a mammalian poison. It does not pass through you harmlessly. Chronic ingestion is linked to reproductive havoc and long-term neurotoxicity. You are microdosing a substance that was designed to kill living things. The purity paradox here is offensive. Maxwell House markets itself on reliability and value. It is the red jar in every grandmother's cupboard, but that low price point is achieved by skipping safety standards. They use chemical shortcuts that are banned in strictly regulated EU zones because they are known to erode the human nervous system. You are saving pennies at the till, but you are paying a biological tax every time you flick the kettle on. The label reads, "The aroma of home." The lab report calls it industrial drainage ditch. This Morrison's bestseller is a deception wrapped in green packaging. While consumers pay a premium for a German heritage brand, they are unknowingly purchasing a sponge for agricultural runoff. The hidden agent here is AMPA. This is not a naturally occurring coffee compound. It is the metabolic corpse of glyphosate, the commercial weed killer that drenches conventional fields in Vietnam and South America. The plant absorbs the poison, metabolizes it, and bakes it into the bean before it reaches the roasting plant. The danger is that AMPA is thermally stable. It does not wash off. It does not burn off during roasting. It persists at 100% detection rates in non-organic lines. When you drink this, you are not just consuming caffeine, you are ingesting a chemical that acts as a broad-spectrum antibiotic in your digestive system. It scorches the earth of your microbiome, obliterating the beneficial bacteria you need to survive. The damage is visceral. This chemical thins the intestinal lining, creating leaky gut syndrome. Your gut barrier fails, and toxins leak directly into your blood. This is not just a stomachache, it is a primary driver of systemic inflammation. Even more disturbing, emerging research now links this specific pesticide ingestion to Parkinson's disease. You are literally drinking a risk factor for neurodegeneration. Tests reveal a shocking reality. AMPA is present in 72% of conventional coffees, but Jacobs Kronung is the trap. It markets itself on purity and tradition, yet delivers a chemical load that matches a weed killer spill. The industry knows this method creates a health hazard, but they prioritize yield over your long-term safety. They count on you not checking the lab reports. Do not let them poison your gut for profit. Number 2, Carte Noire. If strict Japanese sanitation norms flag a chemical profile as a risk for endocrine havoc, why is it the centerpiece of a Waitrose display? This jar is sold under the guise of French craftsmanship and intensity. In reality, it is a delivery system for a Group 2, a probable carcinogen. The toxic agent is acrylamide. This is not an additive listed on the back. It is a chemical scar burned into the product during the manufacturing process. To achieve instant solubility, the industry subjects coffee beans to the spray drying method, a process of such extreme industrial violence that it triggers the Maillard reaction to dangerous levels. The intensity you taste is chemically indistinguishable from the char that damages your DNA. The health terror here is metabolic. Acrylamide does not simply pass through you. Upon ingestion, your liver metabolizes it into glycidamide. This compound is a genotoxic invader that hunts down your DNA and binds to it, causing mutations. Chronic exposure is not just a cancer risk. It leads to cumulative neurotoxicity. You are slowly frying your nerve endings and accelerating renal cell death with every morning cup. Surveys by the Food Standards Agency in 2024 clocked this specific blend at 750 micrograms per kilogram. That is nearly double the level found in many ground coffee rivals. While you believe you are paying for a premium dark roast, you are actually microdosing a compound linked to kidney failure. The purity paradox is complete. The label promises sophisticated flavor, but the lab report reveals a chemical load that would be illegal under stricter international safety standards. British shelves still stock it, and British consumers are still drinking it. The industry relies on your ignorance of chemistry. Do not mistake a chemical burn for a bold taste. Number 1. Nescafé Gold Blend. Weeks. That is the duration families across Britain spent unknowingly brewing a chemical burn in their morning mugs. In December 2020, the gold standard of the instant aisle collapsed into a public health hazard. While consumers paid a premium £7 plus for what they believed was a sophisticated, smooth indulgence, the factory lines were sealing industrial cleaning agents directly into the 300-gram jars. The specific contaminant was hydrogen peroxide. This is not a preservative. It is a corrosive bleaching agent used to scrub industrial vats. Due to a catastrophic failure in the rinsing protocol, residues of this harsh chemical remained in the vessels before filling and effectively laced the coffee with a toxin capable of causing severe gastrointestinal burns and acute oxidative damage to cells. The rich aroma masked a volatile poison. The factory nightmare was the lag time. This contaminated batch did not stop at the factory gates. It hit the shelves of Tesco, Sainsbury's and Asda during the peak winter season. You were not just buying coffee, you were buying a diluted solution of industrial bleach. The Food Standards Agency eventually forced a recall, but only after thousands of units had already entered the food chain. The betrayal is visceral. The brand relied on your trust in the gold label to sell you a product that was legally unsafe to drink. But the assault on the consumer did not end with the chemistry. It evolved into financial theft. Fast forward to August 2025, and the danger has shifted from your gut to your wallet. In a calculated move of shrinkflation, Nestlé quietly slashed the standard jar size from 200 grams to 190 grams. The price remained frozen, but the value evaporated. This represents a hidden 5% price hike per gram, executed without a single warning on the label. This is the Great Deception. The packaging still boasts of a rich Colombian heritage and golden roasted beans, diverting your eye from the shrinking weight and the toxic history. They rely on the muscle memory of your shopping habit. You grab the same jar, paying more for less, while drinking a brand that previously failed to separate the beverage from the cleaning fluid. The Gold Blend is a masterclass in value extraction. They dilute the product quantity while gambling with your biological safety. The evidence is undeniable. The jar sitting on your kitchen counter is not a harmless morning ritual. It is a game of biological Russian roulette. From the neurotoxic weed killer in Jacob's Kronung to the heavy metals in Tesco's Finest, the industry has proven it values profit over your survival. They are banking on your silence. They are banking on you not reading the toxicology reports. But now you know. Go to your pantry right now. Check the label. Did you find one of these brands hiding in your cupboard? Were you aware that your premium roast was chemically indistinguishable from industrial waste? Will you ever spend another penny on a company that feeds you plastic and carcinogens, or will you demand better? Tell us in the comments. We are already investigating the next aisle of the supermarket, and the results are even more disturbing. Do not let them poison you in the dark. Click subscribe for the truth.